you know LSU well. I think Jayden Daniels has a little Lamar Jackson. I think he's probably more refined at this point in his life in the pocket, but not quite as fast. What is he, a little thin? What do you make of it?
Jayden Daniels can play, man. Trained with us the entire last year. I mean, Jayden Daniels probably 210 pounds.
Okay.
When Jayden first started, probably 175.
No, at Arizona State, his helmet looked too big.
He's accurate. You want to play with him as a player, the way he carries himself. You want to play with him, a personable dude. The only concern I would have is with Dan Quinn being a defensive coach, is he going to be making some of the calls? Meaning, hey, I just want to run the ball here. We'll punt the ball. And, yeah, he's not calling a play, but you technically are calling the play. Just what kind of leash are you going to have? Are you going to let him play, or are you going to try to play game safe and hope your defense can win it? And so that may be my only concern.
I heard Cliff Kingsbury really pushed hard for Jayden Daniels with the number 2 pick. That Cliff was like, that kid's good.
When you look at the improvements that he made each year in college, is remarkable. If LSU has a good defense, they're playing in the college football playoff last year.
Yeah.
He was that good last year. And so you statistically was better than what Joe Burrow did. Joe Burrow just had a ton of NFL guys on defense, whereas Jayden Daniels didn't.
Right.
And you can look at it and say, man, this guy's going to play. We know 2 or 3 of these guys aren't going to play well. But if I had to pick 2, it would be those guys because of the situation that Bo Nix is in. And you look at the weapons that Caleb Williams have and that he has to play with. And Chicago's defense was very good down the stretch last season.
Excellent.
Okay. I want to talk about Jayden Daniels. And I think what TJ said here was both right and wrong about Dan Quinn. Listen, I'm very high on Jayden Daniels. I'm really excited. It's funny to be even already talking about, like, you know, could he be better than Lamar Jackson? And we obviously know how great Lamar Jackson is. And I'm on the record saying consistently, I'm all about offensive head coaches, offensive head coaches, offensive head coaches. I think it's more important to get your offense, have continuity with your offense and consistency with your offense, rather than have to keep having it go through your coordinator. If you're a defensive head coach, because once you kind of get your offense locked and loaded, that coordinator is going to be gone, and it's just a lot harder. You know, getting your quarterback situation is the most important thing a team can do. It just is, especially in the modern NFL. But Dan Quinn, I think, there's a few defensive coaches that you can obviously, of course, win and have a high level of success with, and I think Dan Quinn is definitely that. And what TJ is kind of talking about is, I don't think Dan Quinn's that type of coach. Dan Quinn understands the importance of a great coordinator. Help get him to a Super Bowl and almost win. And he understands. He didn't have to have a Cliff Kingsbury, at least not to my knowledge. I don't know if it was more forced upon him, but not to my knowledge. And he understands. I mean, first of all, Cliff Kingsbury is actually a threatening coordinator. He's coached in the NFL. He's had success. He's worked with high-level quarterbacks. Like, he is a big voice and an important and respected voice. I know people who seemingly want to make fun of him because of all the things that happened in Arizona, but he was not the reason for Arizona. Arizona was a disastrous organization and still is. Maybe they've kind of slowly righted that ship, but make no mistake about it, Cliff Kingsbury was a huge reason for their success. Not a doubt in my mind with regards to that. So having a face like that, because I remember reading some stuff also about Philly, because originally Cliff Kingsbury was also looking to go to Philly, and they were kind of saying, especially with Sirianni on the hot seat, it's like bringing in Kingsbury would be like very threatening, because like he could command the locker room better, the players, the offense. Sirianni could get fired, and Cliff Kingsbury could step in and now be the head coach. Like, it's very possible. Dan Quinn's obviously not on that exact trajectory, but the real reason why I'm emphasizing this is because Dan Quinn does not have this massive ego. Some of these defensive coaches, especially defensive coaches who are not as successful as they should be, or just are in general, they do have that massive ego. It is like, yes, defense, defense, defense. I'm the head coach. I'm the leader. If I say, we're going to punt the ball, or we're going to, not go for it, or we're just going to run it and then punt, that's what we're doing. It's not collaborative. That is definitely who we saw Bill Belichick be pretty much for a majority of his career, but definitely near the second half and post Tom Brady, and it got them nowhere. that to me is not who Dan Quinn is. I think Dan Quinn and Cliff are going to have a very collaborative, very collaborative, coaching relationship. And I think Cliff is going to be empowered to succeed, empowered to put his players, the offense in a position to succeed. But I also don't think that it's such a bad thing that you're going to have a great defensive mind like Dan Quinn that'll say, yo, I got this defense cooking. I got this quarterback figured out right now. We're good. We don't need Jayden to go for it, to push the ball down the field. I know it's 3-9 or whatever. Like, we're good. We got this. Just run it. Like, no mistakes. Like, let's just play good, solid, fundamental football. Let's kind of play football like you would play in a way like when you were in high school and you don't have a great team, but your quarterback can kind of ball. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of times, a lot of high school teams will have a quarterback and that's it. A lot of the other, because it's just kind of like the best athlete. So you put them at quarterback position and there's not a lot you can do because you can't really throw the ball down the field because they either can't get open, the offensive line can't buy them time, or they just can't catch the ball. And so it's a lot of just like quarterback sneaks, and it's just like it can get kind of ugly. Obviously, it depends on the quality of play and where you live. And I'm not saying that's where the Commanders are going to be, but it's just like playing some conservative football, especially when you get that lead or if things are kind of rolling. It's just like, yeah, you know what? It would have been nice to keep this drive going. I know we want to put up some more points, but it's okay that we're not. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have to score every single drive. And that's one of the drawbacks of a hyper aggressive offensive coach. It is that feeling of offense. We got to go. And it hurts. You feel it as a viewer, honestly, as a fan. When you're watching and your team, the team that you're rooting for, it pains you, right? When you see your team go 3-and-out, or they maybe get a couple first downs, but they don't even get to kick a field goal, you're like, ugh, like it hurts. You're just like, well, it almost is like a wasted possession. That's what it feels like, because we're so offensively driven in just all sports. We want to see the points. We want to see the scores. We want to see the touchdowns, the flashy plays. When you're playing a video game, when you're playing Madden, you're not like, oh, gee, I hope this game's going to be 10-9. You want to put up points. You want to ball out. And that is where a good defensive coach can be like, it's okay. We don't need to score every drive. And when you have a quarterback who is, like Jayden, who can do a lot of this, I got to start to think of like a better phrasing or word for it, but like a lot of this like crazy, exciting video game-esque stuff, I think it's important for him to learn containment and to learn to actually be like, we're going to hand the ball off. And you know what? When we hand the ball off, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to roll your eyes. You don't have to get upset. You don't have to feel like you failed the drive or that you have to save every drive. It's okay. You're going to hand it off. We're probably not going to get the first down, and it's all good. You're going to come on the sideline. We're going to look at some stuff, talk about some stuff. You're going to, your defense is going to take care of business. Let's go. And you know what? The defense is going to respect you and be happy that you didn't put them now on the back foot, that you didn't now give the team like amazing field position, and now, you're putting pressure on them. It's going to be a lot more connected and great. So I think it's actually really beneficial. I really do. And I think the Commanders are just in such a great place. I don't know how quickly it's all going to come together. I could see it coming together this season and them sneaking into the playoffs. I don't see them winning a division personally, unless the Eagles really are just a disaster, and the Cowboys can continue their decline, which I think they are in a decline, although Cowboys fans will probably disagree. But I think it's potential that they make the wild card. Who really knows? It'll definitely be interesting, but I'm really excited to see how this all unfolds, and I really hope that we get to see the Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury relationship for at least a couple years, because who knows, so many coaches could be fired and Cliff could be getting a head coaching job next season, especially if he brings Jayden Daniels up and they're balling out. Like, that's definitely a legitimate possibility. And that is the problem with the defensive coach, because a lot of Jayden's success will be tied to Cliff, and then if Cliff leaves, you kind of have to hit the reset button, and it can get pretty frustrating. So I do hope to a degree that we get to see Cliff Kingsbury with at least 2 or 3 years in this system with Jayden and Dan Quinn, and that balance. And I think they could be really, really good. I really do. So we shall see. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? How do you think Dan Quinn will kind of handle Jayden? And do you think he will kind of have more influence over that offense? Or do you think it'll be kind of just like the Cliff and Jayden show, and they'll just be kind of balling out or doing things kind of like what they did in Arizona with Kyler Murray? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the video, I don't even know what I was saying. I just lost my train of thought completely. That was crazy. Give me a video thumbs up because it really helps with the algorithm, I think. But yes, see you all next time.